If you go to the YouTube channel, guys, for those of you on TikTok, go to YouTube or on Facebook. If you go to the YouTube channel, you'll see today's prediction was a decline with an opportunity to open up a long position. It looks like that pretty much panned out. Nice decline here, followed by a retracement back. I would have gotten out had I been trading. I don't trade during Mercury retrograde. 2 more days, guys. But had I been trading, I would have gotten out a little bit early out of a short position right around here, which is still a juicy trade. And then we have the prudence card at the end of the day, right at the close. So this last hour of trading is crisscrossing back and forth 3 times. We're talking about the S&P 500 for those of you who aren't watching the live chart on YouTube right now. We get a crisscrossing back and forth 3 times through the same price level with the confirmation of a bullish trend, or it's supposed to confirm, but sometimes that confirmation is false. But the point is we'll go back and forth 3 times, and it looks like if we start right at 3 o'clock, the price level is like 411 to 412-ish likely. I'm going to mark that off on my chart here. That's the Virtue card from 6-1. Yeah, so steep decline with increasing momentum into the low. We attempt to establish support here. Doesn't look like we established that support, so that's what makes me think that this right here is the price level that we crisscross back and forth, the 411 to 412-ish, because we attempted to establish support around the 411-ish, 412-ish mark. And then we fell back through it. Now we've crossed through it again. So that's likely the price level moving into the end of the day. What I noticed that I find interesting, I just noticed it earlier today. We have at the end of the day here, this last hour, we have the Virtue card for the last hour trading for the SPY. If I go and I look at tomorrow's chart, we've got the Virtue card as the high significator for tomorrow, which leads me to believe that we probably have a lower day tomorrow. And that would make sense. That would make sense because when we look at the overview, we have a failure. We have the failure card for the overview for the overview theme card for the 2nd of June. However, we do as we move into the end of the as we move into early next week, I should say, there's 2 high correlators there. For the month, I don't think there'll be actual month highs. I think that month's high is going to be on the 13th. Yeah, because the June S&P 500, guys, if you haven't signed up for the mailing list, or free mailing list on tarotfortraders.com, and that's FOR, not the number 4 for those of you on TikTok, it's FOR, tarotfortraders.com, and you sign up for a free mailing list, you get the 1-month overview of the S&P 500 every month, way ahead of the, like at least a week ahead of the month, and you get it for free. It just shows up for you. And it's very helpful when you're looking at the dailies and you're trying to develop a strategy. It's like looking, if you're a technical trader, and you're looking at different charts of like different time frames, but they overlap each other. Like that's helpful for certain reasons. Same thing goes for different readings. We have a daily reading, we have a monthly reading, we have a yearly reading. Like there's a ton of stuff. And it's all free on YouTube, so why you're not checking it out? I mean, you must be stubborn or something. I don't know. It's free. It's 98% accuracy. Maybe it's time to wise up, my friends. Excuse me. Is tomorrow going to be red? That is my sense. Yes, that tomorrow on the S&P will be red. We have the failure card on the 1 month overview for June for tomorrow's overview card. And then when I look at the second, we have the high significator card for this June 2nd is the card that we end the day with today from June 1st, which leads me to believe that the price that we end the day at is going to be tomorrow's high. Since we're ending near highs, you know, that one could deduce from that we'll likely have a down day. You know, tomorrow, this was like an opportunity. Today was an opportunity to open up long positions in the midst of a decline. Tomorrow's still a down day. That doesn't mean get rid of any long positions, because when we look at the overview, there's a couple crests coming up, and then, like I said, I think I see the 1 month high likely is on the 13th. We have a notable crest there on the 9th. But we also have a notable drop here, guys. Somewhere around like the 9th to the 16th. And, you know, we're coming up on retrograde. On the end of retrograde, I should say. We have Station Direct on Friday, on the 3rd. Right? And so I have a chart here. If you're watching live on YouTube, I've got a chart here where I identified with these gold vertical lines. These are the important points of Mercury retrograde. So this is when we enter the pre-shadow. And for those of you who don't know much about retrograde, basically what that means is that Mercury in the sky, from our perspective, Mercury looks like it's going backwards in the sky. It's not actually going backwards in the sky, or it's not actually going backwards, but in the sky, it's going backwards. And that's based on, you know, our perspective from Earth and all the things spinning in the heavens, you know. Point being is that it still affects us profoundly. I've been watching it in relation to the S&P 500 specifically since 2007, and it definitely has a major impact. What I see transpiring based on what I've learned from watching these retrogrades, and that's at least 3 years, sometimes there's 4 a year, since 2007, is that the shadow, so we enter the shadow, and what that means is that Mercury has entered the part of the sky that it's going to look like it's going backwards when it starts to reverse. So we go through it once the right way, then it stalls out. That's when Mercury goes station retrograde, stalls out in the sky, and then it starts to go backwards, and it speeds up, and then it slows down, and it stops basically right where we entered the sky when we enter the shadow, right? And then it stalls, and then it starts to go back forward the same direction that it's supposed to go. So it basically goes through the sky, one area of the sky 3 times, twice in the same direction. And what I've seen transpire is that we have generally speaking, now you have to take into consideration weekends do not line up nice and neatly with trading days and patterns of astrology, you know, so you have to take that into consideration. But the general pattern is that you can see like a general like mimicking of whatever the pattern is in the first shadow. So from like April 26th to May 10th, that was the first shadow. So the behavior was like back and forth, and then drop, right? And then now we're going into the second, or into the post shadow, which is the second time that we go through the sky the direct way, the way we're supposed to. So we're revisiting and going through the same area of the sky that we went through in the first shadow, right? Same stuff should transpire. I had my computer die on one shadow, right? And it's getting ready to, it died yesterday and it came back together, but that's what you see on both sides of retrograde. You revisit things that you once had to deal with on one side, you revisit them on the other end. And it goes for the stock market as well. So what I'm getting at, long and belabored, is that the stock market strategy here using Mercury retrograde is do not trade during actual Mercury retrograde. Like, it's just a dumb idea. The 3 things that Mercury affects are travel, electronics, and communication. Right? You're dealing with 2 of those right there. The way, depending on how you look at a stock chart, you're dealing with all 3. You know, so wait until retrograde is over and we're into the shadow phase again, and then that should be basically the first shadow from the 26th to May 10th should basically be like we should have like a revisiting of that same pattern. So some back and forth volatility with the drop towards the end of it. Yep, and that's what I'm expecting. So on the 3rd, I'll be looking to open up a short position. Well, I'll be looking to play some volatility with a more of like a bearish kind of slant to it. I'll take more of a bearish stance, if you will, but playing volatility, because there'll be some back and forth, like through roughly from like June 3rd to probably like the 13th or the 14th. Varies a little bit because of the weekends, like I said, but and then we should have a drop there. That's what I'm planning on, guys. As far as tomorrow is concerned, yep, see that? Look at that, guys. I'm looking at the 1-day chart for today. We have the crisscross 3 times through the same price level, confirming a bullish trend. That's the last card of the hour. But it's a prudence card as well, so multiple false tops likely, or it's a fake out and we end up in the opposite direction. My sense is that we likely open up down. Tomorrow is an opportunity, if you play options, tomorrow is an opportunity to open up or position yourself so that you have a strangle or straddle, which means that you can actually trade both directions at the same time using options. And you do that when you think there's going to be like a big move in one direction. Normally that's how a technical trader will use a straddle or strangle, is they're looking for a big move in one direction, and the idea is that it goes far enough in one direction that you're profitable. It like the amount that you make on one end cancels out the loss from the other side and the amount that you spent on this side, right? So it has to be a big move. If you know that there's volatility ahead, it's also and you're a nimble trader, it's also a great opportunity for volatility, but you have to be very nimble, you have to be skilled. It's still Mercury retrograde's influence, lots of crazy haywire stuff, but you know, when you know that it's going to be volatile, right there, my friends, is an edge. Like everybody that trades classically with technical analysis, they basically are like, you remember in algebra we used to have those x plus y equals z equations, right? Well, like technical analysis is like trying to figure out the z with only the x. You don't know what the y is either, so you don't know what y or z is. How are you going to find the z? You kind of guesstimate, well, if the y ends up being this, then z will be that. If the y ends up being this, then z will be that, right? But they're all just playing with just the x of the x plus y equals z, right? Well, what we're doing here with SO meta analysis is we found a way to provide the y. So with SO meta analysis, you're trying to find the z in an x plus y equals z equation. You have technical analysis, the x, and you have SO meta analysis, the y. How easy does z become? I'll tell you how easy, my friends. 98% of the time on average easy. Because that's what we've been averaging. If you don't take into account Mercury retrograde, my least favorite. I think of it as a holiday at this point. I pay so much attention to it, and basically, in a way, it is. You have to learn to utilize it, live your life utilizing it rather than running from it or pretending it doesn't exist. It's like a sailor trying to sail across the ocean, and they want to pretend that the wind is always going in their direction. Like, are they going to get where they need to go? Probably not. Right? But when it's going against you, there's still a way to sail. You just have to understand that and learn how to live that way while retrograde is in tune with being, when Mercury's in tune with being retrograde. So in a way, it is very much like a vacation. I didn't trade, just been kind of like watching. But yeah, guys, end of the day, careful. We're coming up on the last half hour of trading. In the post market, we see a high, and then we should have another prominent trough that forms somewhere in there, because if we're not a little early, it's possible we've already seen that trough. But I think we probably have one, two. Well, we went through it 3 times. Interesting. Well, in the post market, anyways, guys, we have sideways fluctuations with a downward trend that precedes an incline. And that's exactly my sense when I look at the 1 month overview. Wow, this thing doesn't want to work properly. Good old retrograde for you. Unbelievable. Sorry guys, I don't know what the hell is going on here. It won't let me change the... Wow, that is really annoying. Good old retrograde. I swear, it affects me so much. There we go. That's never happened. My God. So tomorrow is that opportunity to position for both sides of the market, and that's likely because we've got a decline early in the day. Like pre-market-ish. Opportunity to go long. Looks like we probably meet this virtue card level, the 412, 411 on the SPY. We probably meet that around the high tomorrow, is my sense, which should be roughly around... let's say around 11:15-ish, 11:30, 11, let's say 11 to 11:30-ish, somewhere in there. We should see the end of a high. Matter of fact, let's say somewhere from like 11 to 12, because there's a trade opportunity there towards the end of that high, where we see some headwinds come out and then there's a drop. And then you've got that ruin card there as well, guys. Remember, when we look at the overview, we've got the failure card, the 7 of discs for tomorrow. You got to be careful though, guys, because a lot of stuff, if you're just a new trader, you got to understand that sometimes this stuff transpires outside of hours that you can take advantage of it. And does that make any sense? It's crazy, but yeah, if you're like a little guy and you can't trade, you know, you have your stuff like stuck in there because of the pattern day trading rule. Like, there's a bunch of people who can trade or who are positioning themselves for tomorrow morning to eat you alive, and they say that that rule helps you. It's so ridiculous. What a scam. But you know, you don't go by those rules. You play a different way. When you're not playing their system, they can't beat you at it. Like, you're not playing their system, you got your own system. I was in the top 2%. This was 2010, I believe. I was in the top 2% of the CNBC $1 Million Portfolio Challenge. If there's anybody from CNBC watching, I challenge you to go find this. You will see it's fact. I was in the top 2% of the CNBC $1 Million Portfolio Challenge, and I was only using tarot cards. I hadn't even figured out the full pattern or anything. Not that I have yet, but I wasn't anywhere near as accurate as I am now. And I was in the top 2%. Now, here's the funny thing about my life, right? That was the last CNBC $1 Million Portfolio Challenge that they ever did, because they found the top 1% cheating. They found like a loophole where they just left their browser window open, and then in the morning, if they were wrong, they would just close their browser window rather than submit. And they basically would always be right, or they wouldn't get their failures wouldn't get counted, basically. So what does that mean? The top 1% was cheating. I was in the top 2% using only tarot that year. I was in the top 1% of the world competing for $1 million. You better believe all over the world people were competing, and I was using only tarot. Now, why do you think that works? There's a few reasons, my friends. First off, multi-dimensional realities are a thing. Stop saying universe. It's so annoying to me. Like, stop. It's not a universe. It's a multiverse. Start talking like it is, because that's what it is. When you say universe, you sound ignorant to me. So let's elevate, guys. It's a multiverse. And with that, so much more is possible, right? The law of attraction, take into consideration that you have control over your reality based on your thoughts, right? If your thoughts create your reality, and I'm not going to say if, they do. Your thoughts, at least mine, create my reality. I'd imagine that it's probably like that for you too watching this video, right? Like, if your thoughts create your reality, that's kind of crazy. You're creating everybody else's reality. How's that possible? Because it's not one reality. It's not one universe, my friends. It's a multiverse. Okay? I don't give a fuck what Trump said in your world. I don't want to hear about it. He's non-existent in mine. Like, it's a different world. You got to understand, he could be doing completely different things in mine and yours. And if we never speak on it, who's ever going to be able to say that that didn't actually take place? And that's the case. It's infinity. You choose which reality you're in. And so once you understand that it's a multi-dimensional reality, then you can start to conquer all of these little techniques that you learn. I call them practical metaphysics. It allows you to take the understanding of that which seemed like outside of our world. It's not. We're a part of our world. I don't know why people invite me to sing. Do I look like I'm singing, my friends? So you don't want to hear me sing. Point being, guys, is you can control the one that you're in. You can not that you're creating it, but you're driving your body into what reality you want to be into. And yes, that is the truth. Whether you want to admit it or not, it's a scary concept, especially if you have no control over your mind, right? But if you've learned to control your mind and you've learned the techniques of practical metaphysics, which are mind control techniques, you can affect your reality, and that's proven. That's not even string. That's quantum physics, I guess. The double slit experiment, where they basically proved. I'm not going to sing with you, people. Thank you. Stop asking me. Take that into consideration, my friends. You can create the reality, but it's not like, oh, okay, well, now I know that, boom. Like, it took me so many years to figure out how to do it and how to change the way that I believed and undo limiting beliefs and input new belief systems and not have them be lies to myself, but to fully believe them. There's so many techniques that you can learn and you can use. I'm using one right now. I use it all day long, every single day. I listen to subliminals. That's what these are right here, my friends. I'm listening to subliminals. Subliminal messages, which basically, you watch commercials. I program my own mind rather than having a corporation put commercials in my mind. I'm putting thought trees in my mind that I want to become repetition, that I want to become patterns. And the thing about subliminals is that I don't actually hear them consciously. I can't tell you the words that are passing into my mind right now. And why is that so important? Because I can't argue with myself about it. The thought form, the thought process is going in pure, and it's becoming a pattern. It's becoming repetitive, and then eventually that little trickle becomes a stream, and that stream becomes a river, and then you don't need the subliminal anymore. Your mind just thinks that way. There's no arguing about it. This is how you transform your reality, my friends, by transforming your mind. And I might actually know what I'm talking about. Look at the guy wearing the sunglasses in the dark, and wearing like the fancy designer shirt and the iPods. Like, he can't actually know what he's talking about. Like, come on, my friends. It's called playing against type, first off. It expands your mind because you don't get what you expect. And when you get something you didn't expect, oh, surprise, that could be possible. And I'm always looking to do that. Always. So I might know what I'm talking about, considering the 98% accurate predictions that we do of the S&P 500 every single day. And even if somebody else on the planet had a 98% accurate analysis system, you better believe they're not predicting by the hour. That's right, my friends. We're predicting by the hour. How am I doing that? Because I've learned to control enough of my internal mind, my internal dialogue. I have thoughts that were once subconscious that are now a conscious threshold. I've learned enough. I've practiced enough. It's like a muscle, a skill that you learn. Mental ninjutsu, if you will. But basically, you're learning to control your reality by learning to control your mind. If you haven't discovered the importance of stillness, of meditation, of quieting the mind, my friend, you are missing out. It is more important than eating. It's more important than knowledge. You know, after a certain amount of books, you realize that you don't need knowledge anymore to evolve. The knowledge becomes limiting. It's infinity. I'm gonna grab my dog. Come here, buddy. If you haven't met Hermes, this is Hermes. Hey, buddy bear. The messenger dog. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we definitely in the pre-market here for tomorrow. We have those decline cards. The Strife card's a sharp decline card. There's Strife is basically Strife is like basically when you have like the moving averages are in a bearish formation. Strife is when you hit the moving average and the moving average is acting as a resistance level, and then you have a drop, and then you spike up, but not as high as the last spike, and you meet the moving averages as resistance again, and then you drop further, and then you spike up, but not as high as the last spike, and you use the moving averages as resistance, and that's basically what Strife is. So we have that in pre-market tomorrow. It's also a volatile day based on the Princess of Swords. But you know, I mean, you don't need to hear me say it again. If you go to the YouTube channel, our YouTube channel, Tarot for Traders, it's with FOR, not the number 4 for you people on TikTok. For whatever reason, TikTok thinks that FOR is a curse word. They won't let us use it. Like, so, you know, go to the YouTube channel and you'll see we have all of June up until I believe the 21st is already predicted. The remainder of June is going up today, along with an AMC 1 month overview for June, possibly an MGM, and then everything moving forward will be July. I'm not sitting around waiting for June. We've done enough of June. Like, I've been looking at June for all of May, basically. I'm tired of looking at June. We're going to July. And, you know, to give you an idea of just how insanely accurate this and useful the system of analysis is that we developed using pattern recognition, SO meta-analysis, I'm using information that's relevant right now, today, and it will be for the rest of the year. And I compiled this information from a reading that I did last year in 2021, guys. I believe it was November, right? So it does, like, you can predict as far out as you need to. It doesn't just need to be stock market stuff. It could be any type of investment. It doesn't even need to be an investment. You want to time something else? I know how to do it. You can apply the SO meta-analysis system to basically timing anything, and it'll have the same accuracy. So, yeah, with that said, there's a book on it. You can always check it out and support the author, myself. But I talk about how it was developed and little intricacies of it. Everybody that had it pre-ordered, you guys, I think you're probably already aware, but everybody who was patient with the pre-order, you guys have free, like whenever we get a new edition, you'll get a free update as a thank you. All right, guys, so I'm going to get back to finishing off this AMC reading so I can get that out tonight. I might pop on right at the close, but I think you guys you got it, especially if you're checking out the YouTube channel. You already seen everything that, like, we were talking about June 1st. I don't know, what was it, like 2 weeks ago? I don't even know. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and do me a favor. I would say that I am, yes. I would say that I'm a world-class psychic, yes. I was hiding for a long time. You know, coming out as being a psychic is, I'd imagine it's similar to like coming out for anything else that you like people won't understand, you know? So yes, and I wasn't always that way. That's, you know, I was talking about, you know, developing the mind and whatnot. I developed these psychic abilities. I trained them. I worked them like a muscle, and I did that using subliminals, just like everything else in reality. The cause of your reality are your thought forms, and if you can control and you can modify and you can like add and subtract the thoughts that you want. Once you have control over your mind, you control your universe, which isn't a universe. It's part of a multiverse, and that's why this actually works. That's why I can predict the stock market. You can see that it's predicted, and it actually is true. And it's not like I controlled every single person in existence in the stock market. It's just the people that were synchronized with this reality. And that's how it works. There's so much magic to the world, and everybody goes around, for the most part, like, oh, it's this way, I fucking hate that person. No, it's infinity. You've just driven that reality into your reality. So pick a better one, my friends. And yes, you can grow it like anything else. I mean, you know, Princess Queen K, I have nothing to prove to you. I don't appreciate questions like that. You know, it's first off, it's not something that I pull out of a hat. right? This is something that took me a really long time to figure out how to do. Most of my life, I sacrificed in poverty to figure out how to do this. And I don't need to like tell you some initials so that you can feel better about whether or not I'm psychic. I have nothing to prove to you. In fact, if you really need proof, you can go look at all of the predictions that I've done for June already and then come back and do your own homework. I don't waste my time with critics that think that they're that smart. My friend, it's infinity. Wake up. So Carson Magoo, I appreciate the vote of confidence. One thing you want to make sure that you never do is, oh man, this guy's always right. This guy's always right. Let me put everything I have on it. No, don't do that, because first off, I'm not always right, right? Sometimes my interpretations are off. It happens. There's a 2%, right? And if you do that, even if you are right, if you have all your money on the table, you could lose it, because the market is designed to make it look like you're wrong. Even when you're right, it's going to look like you're wrong before you end up making money. And they want you to get scared and sell at a loss. That's why they say buy low, sell high. It sounds so simple. Everything in the market is designed to make you do the opposite. So keep that in mind. How much risk tolerance do you have is the term that they use in the industry. Risk tolerance. You never want to invest more than you can tolerate. You never want to risk more than you can tolerate losing, because as soon as you risk more than you can tolerate losing, you will lose it, right? Your mind starts to think it's a different way. It doesn't think logically. It thinks with heightened like risk. So risk tolerance is probably one of the most crucial parts of making money. If you're going to play with the stock market, you must understand risk tolerance. Like you have to. Right? Whenever I've been like, oh man, I'm right all the time, and I've just dumped all of my money into it, I regretted it big time. And the funny thing is, most of the time I was right anyways, but you know, I would psych myself out. I would, I'd gaslight myself. Like I said, I wasn't always psychic. I mean, I was always sensitive. I just didn't even believe that really that was the case. Like that was worthy. Like I started reading a book called Intuition. What is it called? The Intuitive Edge. The Intuitive Edge by Philip Goldberg. It's cited in Think and Grow Rich, I believe, or From Good to Great, one of those two. I think it's Think and Grow Rich, but yeah, that book really like opened my eyes to just how valuable intuition is. Reason is the slow and tedious way by which those who've forgotten come to remember that which they once forgot. It's the slow and tedious way by which we come to realize the truth that we already once knew, right? Intuition is the fast way. We're just trained not to trust ourselves, right? So I had to train myself to trust myself. I had to train myself to trust my intuition. I had to train myself to have different belief systems. All of that stuff I know how to do. It's part of practical metaphysics. I'll have a book come out someday about it, because if you knew who I was when I started this journey, you'd be like, I mean, I don't talk to people who knew me back then, because it's so hard for them to believe. Unfortunate for them. I mean, it's pretty silly when you have like 1,000 one-day S&P 500 one-day readings online published, like over 1,000 of them, right? With a 98% accuracy predicting by the hour, and still people are like, hey man, can you predict this person's initials for me? Like, it's not a magic trick. This isn't like, hey, let me like be a funny spectacle for you. No, that's not how it works. You know, and it's a really ignorant thing to ask, in my opinion. So, if you want to do a reading, you want to learn about a stock, ask me about a stock, because that's what I'm doing on this channel, Tarot for Traders, right? Not initials for haters. I had to. So guys, look at all those likes. Appreciate it, my friends on TikTok. You know, TikTok can be rough, guys. I was getting at is I've got over 1,000. I mean, that's just the 1 day's predicting by the hour, and we've got like a 98% average accuracy predicting by the hour. There we go, boom, dropping like a rock now, guys. That's that prudence card. Yep, right around the close, guys. Right around the close. Yeah, guys, so I guess that's it. Do me a favor, if you haven't done so on TikTok, there's over 1,000 one-day predictions of the S&P 500. Right now, we have up until the 21st of June is already predicted. We predicted XRP for June. We've predicted AVX for June. We predicted Microsoft for June. S&P 500 for June. Sprouts. I mean, silver. There's a ton, guys, and this is all free. So you can either be like that 3-second character that thinks that, oh no, this guy's wearing sunglasses, he's got a bald head and a goatee, like he can't actually be a psychic. Like, no, my friend, there isn't another psychic on the planet that can do what I do. There may be psychics that can predict, hey, this is a good buy. I mean, I know Warren Buffett uses a psychic, but there's no psychic on the planet that can predict the S&P 500 by the hour with the 98% accuracy and leave it up there for everybody to see and do it every single day without bringing the bad ones down. You can't fake trade tickets. You can't fake the S&P 500 chart. There's no like, oh, well, was he right or was he not? I don't quite remember what he said. No, it's right there online for you to see. It's actually transcribed as well. And then there's the chart that you can't fake. So, my friend, you can be the 3-second character on TikTok that makes up his mind instantaneously and gets nowhere in life because he thinks he knows everything. Or you can stop. Recognize that there's something in front of you that's in front of you for a reason, because it all happens for a reason. That's one of the cornerstones of clairvoyance and of being a psychic, is understanding that there's meaning to everything. So if you're watching this and you're that 3-second character, go to the YouTube channel. Go to the YouTube channel. My God, just go. Stop being a hater. Stop saying, oh, that's not possible. I promise you, if you go there, you're going to be mind blown. It's there. Nobody needs to fucking prove it to anybody and like guess your stupid fucking initials. Like go to a fortune teller. I'm not a fortune teller. I'm a world-class psychic that took 22 years of his life in secret, losing money, risking it on tarot cards and esoteric sciences to develop a strategy that actually works, a system of analysis unlike anything you'll find anywhere else on the planet, and with such an uncanny accuracy and level of detail that the hardest part of my life is not predicting the stock market. I do that like I eat cereal for breakfast. Okay, the hard part is getting through to you 3-second characters. Wake up. Go look. It's there. I'm not going to make money from you looking at it. Okay? It's there for free. If anything, you'll make money from looking at it. Okay? And it stays there whether or not it's crap or not. That's just the way it is. Because I have nothing to prove. I'm putting it out there to help people, not to prove shit. Like, there's people that need to see that this is possible. There's people that need help making money. There's people that need to have their minds blown, like all you 3-second characters out there. Go blow your own mind. Expand your consciousness. Expand your system of what is possible, your belief system. Expand what you believe reality is capable of. And when you do that, just maybe that'll start a trend of growth in your life, rather than one of I know everything. I call it what do I call it? Psychosclerosis. I love that one. Psychosclerosis. Your thought processes have solidified. There's no changing anything. Man, if you want to be a genius, if you want to change the world, if you want to change your reality, you have to be an open sponge, absorb, constantly question. People thought I was an idiot when I was little because I was asking questions like, why do the atoms connect? And they're like, oh, well, it's because it's particles of positive force and negative force and they attract each other. And I'm like, yeah, man, but why do they attract each other? And they're like, the chemistry teacher threw an eraser at my head in class for that question. You know, that's how I grew up. So I asked these questions. I did the time. I put in the years of poverty to isolation to guard my mentality from all these naysayers and haters that think they know everything about reality. My friend, you read a book. You know what you know about reality? How to read a book. You don't understand why things are real, how they come to be. You don't understand the source of reality. You don't even think that you could understand the source of reality. Guess what, my friends? It's infinity. Oh, well, you can't understand all of infinity. Absolutely right. I don't think you could. Except that, yes, you can, because it's infinity, my friends. There's always more you can learn. Always. All right, guys, I'm done ranting. Appreciate y'all watching. Hit that follow button on the TikTok, and hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so on YouTube and Facebook, my friends. We're looking for 1,000 subscribers on YouTube by the end of July. That's how we're going to keep doing this. That's how it makes sense to keep doing this. We need to get 1,000 subscribers by July. So please, if you've already subscribed, go in and share that with somebody that it's going to help. And even if it doesn't end up helping them, hey, you're helping me. You're helping somebody else. So most importantly, my friends, when you make money, because I see these comments, oh, I'm so glad I found you. I've made $15,000 in the last week and a half. Like, I mean, I love to read this stuff, guys. What I want to see is that some of that was paid forward. Just pay it forward. That's how you open up the universe of abundance. You give. You give. When you give and you don't hold on, the stream keeps flowing, my friends. And there's only one way to discover that. If you're stuck in a stream that's not flowing, is with a little faith and a little gratitude with what you have. So pay it forward, my friends.